Guys, welcome to Let's Paint Live with Jessie, and we are here tonight. We are going to be painting Summer Ranunculus, and everybody's just getting in and getting settled. We have about 100 people, so we want to make sure everybody's getting in and getting all their supplies and getting everything set up. So we'll let everybody get in. Thanks for tuning in. We are so excited and happy and thankful to be here with Michael's Community Classroom. It's been such a great program the past couple months. We've done a lot of these already. You know, we've been going for the past couple months. So I think since kind of like the beginning of May. So thank you everybody for continuing to join us. Jessie's going to be teaching the painting and I will be here to answer questions and comments. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, either public or private, and we will try to answer it live. And also, if you comment during the live, then we are going to pick a winner tonight, and you're going to win $50 worth of Plaid products. So that's really fun and exciting. We love to give product away to everybody. If you are painting along, Jessie will go through all your supplies, and if you do not have something, definitely we can talk about, you know, if you have questions about substituting, but it's kind of like paint with what you have. If you were able to get the product, because it's available on michaels.com, so you could order it online, have it shipped directly to you. You could do, I know a lot of stores are still doing curbside and same day delivery. So a lot of great options to get all your FolkArt product from Michaels. So again, everyone's just getting in and getting settled. If you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. We will try to answer them. And Jessie's gonna get started and let us know how we're doing. If you're painting along, we wanna go at a good pace for everybody. So let's see. I think that's it. Somebody asked if we're using a smaller canvas tonight. So we are using a 10 by 10. If you have a 12 by 12, that's totally fine, or a different size, but we're gonna go with a 10 by 10 tonight. Typically we use either one, and either one will absolutely work for this painting. So again, yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and I think Jessie's gonna go ahead and get started.
Awesome. So like you said, my name is Jessie, in case you have any newcomers. And tonight we're gonna be painting Summer Ranunculus. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know what supplies I have here in front of me to give you an idea of what you should have in front of you if you're gonna planning on painting along right now. So like somebody noticed, we've got a 10 by 10 canvas here tonight. It's a little bit tinier, a little bit cuter. It's a little bit more detail than we might have normally done. So we've got a 10 by 10 canvas that I got from Michaels. We've got our Craft Smart Variety brush set. And the brushes I'm gonna be using tonight, in case you don't have this specific set, you can make sure you have something similar at home. I've got my 3/4 inch flat. So this size, or even like a 3/4 inch flat, any, you know, medium to large flat brush is totally fine. This is just gonna be mostly for base coating. So any brush really is fine for this. I've got my number 5 round brush, which is just sort of like a medium to small size round brush. You can kind of see it there, hopefully, you know, nothing crazy. And then I've got my number 8 flat brush. So any small or medium flat brush will also work for this. So just make sure you have 3 brushes that are sort of similar to this, and you should be totally fine to go ahead and paint along with us tonight. That's why I love this sort of value variety pack, because it comes with so many brushes. I can use these for any kind of painting I'm doing. I've always got what I need. So that's an awesome buy from Michaels. And then for paints tonight, we're going to be using Wicker white. So like Kiera said, if you're having trouble getting supplies at home, use any substitutions. So for just any white paint, any white acrylic paint is perfect for this. Tonight I'm using FolkArt acrylic Wicker white. We've got FolkArt acrylic hot saffron, which is a really gorgeous orangey red color, but any orange color will work for that. We've got FolkArt Cayman blue, which is this pretty sort of like sky blue, like oceany blue color, but any light blue will be fine. We've got Clover, which is just sort of a medium green. So again, any green color is great. We've got True Blue, which just a bright blue, like a royal blue is totally fine. Conch Shell, which is this really pretty light pink, sort of like a rosy, dusty color. So again, any light pink. If you've got red at home, you can totally mix your white and your red, or even you can mix some white into your hot saffron and make a pink color. That's fine too. And then I've got just plain purple. So again, any purple color is great. And then I'm using school bus yellow, but like I said, I'm being really repetitive, but any yellow is great. I don't want you guys to get stuck on the colors, because whatever colors you have at home that are similar will totally work for this painting. So also tonight, I've got my water basin as usual, so anything to wash brushes in. I've got my paper towels, and then I've got my palette paper. So you can use a paper plate or aluminum foil, whatever it is that you like to use at home for your acrylic paints is what you need for this part. And then I have a hair dryer here in front of me. So I think Michael's posted in the waiting room to go ahead and grab your hair dryer. And if not, to start just base coating your canvas in the orange color that you have, hot saffron or whichever orange you're using. Because we are going to base coat our canvas this time and then dry it, and then we're going to paint on top of it. And that's how we're going to get this really cool sort of like vibrating orange background and like sort of highlight around all of our flowers. And it's just a really fun way to paint. I love doing like really bright backgrounds and then painting on top of them because it sort of makes like it's glowing or like it's vibrating. It just, I don't know, I think it gives a really bright, summery look to a painting. So that's like sort of something fun that we're going to be doing tonight that we haven't done before. So, any questions yet, Kira? While people are still coming in?
I'm just saying, I can't type and talk, you guys. I'm not that talented. Hold on. If you do not have the exact color of FolkArt, like Jessie said, just use something similar. Again, we are using FolkArt paint. We make it, and we are happy to partner with Michaels to promote it. But we want everybody to be inspired and have fun tonight because that's what it's all about. If you have a rectangular canvas, if you don't have a square, that's totally fine. And somebody had a question. This was a good one. I have a bunch of old canvases I don't like. Can I paint over them? Absolutely. Yes. You guys, that is what's so great about paint. You can paint over anything. So
we do that
use that old canvas. Yep.
Yeah, totally. And I saw someone say too, can I start painting my canvas orange?
Yes.
Absolutely. So if you guys are ready to go, start painting, just use your large flat brush and start base coating your canvas in hot saffron right now. So it'll give it a little bit of time to dry while we're sort of waiting for people to come in and catch up a little bit.
Yeah, and you could do it on paper. You know, your paper is going to probably kind of wrinkle a little bit once you get all that paint on there. So, but if you're just doing it to practice, totally fine. And again, if you are, I didn't mention this, and if you are just brand new to taking these classes, if you are just watching and maybe don't have your supplies and not ready to paint along, you can go back on michaels.com and watch this class after the fact. So you're like, hey, I'm going to check it out tonight. I want to come back later or watch it again. Absolutely, you can do that. This class, all of Jessie's past Let's Paint classes are on. We've got all of our classes, and I know all the other classes that have been taught for the community classroom are available on michaels.com. So that's a great thing that you can go back and watch it after.
So everyone will be painting their canvases orange right now. If you don't have a square canvas at home, if you've got a rectangular canvas, I would maybe do it in portrait. So then when we go and paint our vase, you can just make your vase a little taller, and this painting will fit really beautifully in a portrait. You can see it's sort of a short round vase for our square canvas, but you can definitely make it taller, or you can make a wide vase. It's totally up to you. This painting will totally fit any size canvas. So.
Yep, that's a great, you know, somebody had a question. If they are rectangular, should they go portrait or landscape? So I would go portrait for this if you have a rectangle.
And when we get to that, I can help you figure out how to draw your vase just a little bit taller, and it won't change your painting at all. You'll just have a little bit more vase on the bottom, and that's okay. It'll still be really pretty.
Yep, and you don't have to, you know, if you're repainting on a canvas, you can just go right on top of it. If it's confusing, if you had like a white paint or gesso, if you wanted to go ahead and paint over it and then hit it with a hair dryer, or you could just take that orange and paint right over it. That's what they should do.
The orange, for sure.
Go right over it. Yeah. Yep. So everybody should be base coating their canvas in the orange saffron.
Yep.
So Jess, you're going to be the one who's behind Jessie.
I know. Usually, I like to get people to catch up because I think as they're coming in the waiting room, people get behind. But you're right. I think I'm going to be the one who's behind tonight. So like we said, this is hot saffron, and it's just the orange color we have in our palette. Any orangey or red color is fine for this. You could even do the background. I've done paintings in like a hot pink color, and so the hot pink sort of shows through. It just makes a painting really bright and gives it a little more interest without having to do too many crazy little details. So I'm just using my larger flat brush, painting the background with hot saffron. So let us know if you guys are painting along or if you're just watching for inspiration. We'd love to hear where you're from.
This is their 4th paint night with you. I think we've got a lot of repeaters, so we love that.
Awesome. I'm so glad you guys keep coming back.
I know.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, they're job security, Jesse.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Someone's asking portrait or landscape. So if you're using a rectangular canvas, I would go portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're repainting an old canvas, you could actually just use the orange for your background, since that's another, that would just take out another step. So you could go over just an old painting with this orange and cover it up.
Totally. And for this orange background, so if you're worried about getting it, because orange is usually a pretty transparent color, so it's not always great for base coating. So if you have like a dark painting or something beneath it and you're worried about taking too long to sort of cover it, don't worry about that, because we just want to get that orange color on there. If you can still see some of the painting beneath it, that's fine. As you can see here, not much of the orange is coming through. We're going to paint a full painting on top of it, so don't stress too much about getting this orange perfect or making it really like non-streaky, because that's just sort of the nature of just orange pigment. So just make sure you get a full coat of orange on there, and that's just perfectly fine for this painting.
Yep. Up or down, side to side, just as long as it's covered.
Exactly. You could paint the sides of your canvas too as you're going. People always ask that, so feel free to paint the edges right now too if you want.
It was so funny. It's been storming here, guys. I don't know if it's storming where everybody else is, but I was like, what if the electricity goes out? But I think we're good now. We were getting worried.
Well, I was saying we have, our Zoom is on our phones tonight,
Yeah.
where sometimes we have a real camera, so we'll still be connected to you guys.
It'll just be dark.
You'll be able to see what we're painting is all.
We're gonna paint by candlelight. I'm gonna be holding a candlelight under you.
What the painting looks like. That's fine.
I feel like we've done crazier the past couple of months.
I kind of agree with you. But no, like here, I love the idea of people painting on top of older paintings that maybe, they've had hanging on the wall for a long time and they're sort of finished, or just, paintings that they maybe redid and, didn't keep the first draft, because we do that all the time here, especially for these painting classes. We will practice a lot, and a few of us will try it maybe. And so you can see I've got another one of this behind me. So we always have like a handful of each painting around. And so when we need a canvas, we just are always painting on top of it. It's a great way to just sort of save your supplies.
So somebody has a question, why are we painting the canvas orange when the final picture looks blue and green?
That is probably confusing. So if you look closely at our final image, you can see we have this like really awesome orange, I've got it on the overhead here, orange glow coming through. So everything is sort of outlined in this orange, and it's kind of coming through the background. And it just makes this really like bright, summery, like floral look. So you can use like hot pink for it or red. Some people like to do paintings like this and they paint their canvas black and then paint light on top of it. And so the black outline comes through, which is also a really cool look. It's very like dramatic looking. So I just thought this would be a fun way to sort of make this just simple vase of flowers a little more exciting and a little more interesting for you guys. Hopefully it's something that you haven't done before. So hopefully it's something new that you can learn tonight. Just a little trick.
Running out of wall space, but having fun with the kids.
I love that. That's what my sister is loving Kira's, she did a series of Wednesday paint pouring classes, and my niece is loving it. And that's what my sister said. She was like, we probably have a dozen poured canvases right now. She's like, I don't know what to do with them. I have to start hanging them on all their walls.
Paint over them.
Yeah, exactly. Pour over them even.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got my entire canvas just base coated with hot saffron, which is my orange color. And I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm going to, oops, I got some water on there. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to use my hair dryer just to dry it real quick, because you wanna make sure your paint is dry before we start painting our other colors, because we don't want them to get muddy or get orange in them. So if you've got a hair dryer or a heat gun at home, feel free to just go ahead and dry it as best you can. Or if you started painting in the waiting room, it might be drying already right now, so that's totally fine. But just so you guys know, I'm gonna just hair dry this real quick. Okay. So my canvas is nice and dry, and make sure it's really dry before you start painting on it, because when you're working with acrylic paints, you've got a base coat like this, and then it's not fully dry and you start painting around on top of it. Chances are, instead of putting paint down, you're just gonna wipe that base coat back up with your brush. So we're gonna end up pulling this orange paint off instead of putting our beautiful colors on top of it. So you just wanna make sure that it is really dry before you start painting. And you can see here, apparently, I didn't even notice, I had splashed some water onto my canvas from my brush basin before I started drying it. So I have these dots, and I'm not concerned about that. Because like I said, we are covering 99% of the canvas in more paint anyway. So I just wanted to get this quick layer of color down. It is 100% not perfect. I've got some brush strokes here, and I'm okay with that. So don't stress about this first coat of paint.
So you guys, I just love these comments. Someone is, and I'm gonna say your age because you said your age on the chat first. 59. She has been best friends with her person she's painting with tonight since 2nd grade, and they are painting together, which is amazing.
Wow, that is awesome.
I love that. That makes me so happy. 4th class with you guys, so lots of repeaters.
Very cool. Well, welcome back, guys. I'm really glad that you guys keep coming back. Like Kira said, it's job security for us.
And it's a way to connect, you know, like that. Like, you know, you're not able to see people right now, so this is a way to be social. And I mean, heck, hanging out with Jesse and I every Monday night.
We love being able to see you guys. We can swipe through and see. I can't see it as much, but Kira can swipe through and see all of you guys painting who have your cameras on. And that's really, really fun for us because we don't always get to see that. You know, that's the great thing about these Zoom classes. So.
Someone's birthday. Yeah, first won't be my last class. So thank you guys for joining us. And thank you, Michaels, for having us.
Very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started painting our, we're gonna start sort of drawing with our paintbrush, which I do this a lot for our paint nights. If you've got a pencil at home, we can totally do that, but I usually always draw with my paintbrush. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab some Wicker white, which is just my white color. I'm going to put about a dime-sized amount. I don't need a ton for this. And I always put less on my palette than more because acrylic paints dry so quickly, and I don't want my paint drying on my palette. So I always put less than I need, and then I can just go back and add more. Because otherwise, you're just wasting paint. If it gets thick and you need to keep adding more, that's just paint that you don't have to paint with later. So that's why I always put so little. And I have got my number 5 round brush, which is sort of a small to medium round brush. And I'm not sure if I've used this one before, so I'm going to dip it in my water and make sure that I've got all the sizing washed off of it. And now I'm going to pick up some water, make sure my brush is super wet, and I'm going to sort of water down my white a little bit. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I want to get sort of an inky consistency. So this is how I like to draw again, like I keep saying, my subject matter when I'm doing a painting. I just sort of sketch it out really light, so it's not here. I'll show you here. It's not super dark. It's not super opaque. That's why I'm watering it down a little bit. It's just enough so that I can see it and I know where to paint in my colors. So I've got my nice round brush here. I'm going to get sort of the excess paint off of it, and I have my watered down white. So it's just sort of an ink consistency. It's pretty watery, and we're going to sort of sketch our painting using this. So the first thing we're going to draw on our painting, again, I keep saying draw, but we're going to use our paintbrush, is our vase. So to draw our vase, we're going to paint a circle in the bottom half of our canvas. So we're going to say the circle is going to be, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 inches. Here, I'll show you how big mine's going to be. It's definitely going to be in the bottom half. I want to keep it not too close to the bottom, so I'll maybe mark it there about 1 inch from the bottom of my canvas, because I don't want to touch the bottom. And then I'm just going to draw a circle about that big, and it's not going to be perfect, that's for sure. So you can totally use a cup or something to trace, but I would almost recommend that you don't, because sort of the charm of this painting is that it's a little wonky, it's a little fun, a little unique with all the different colors. So I kind of like that the base isn't totally perfect. It's sort of, like I said, sort of part of the charm of this painting. So I would recommend you don't trace something, but if you really are afraid of drawing circles, like a lot of people are, you can absolutely take a cup and trace that with your paintbrush. So that's going to be the base of our vase. And I'm going to draw a little, very skinny oval, about 1 inch above it. You can see my tiny oval there, my skinny little oval. And then I'm going to take either side of my vase, and I'm just going to connect the lines going up. See that there? And that is going to be my base. Just simple as that. So I've got my circle and my tiny skinny oval, and then I connected them with a couple of lines. So then we're gonna paint our flowers in. So we have a big flower here. So I'm gonna paint, it's definitely smaller than our vase. So we're gonna do a circle just a little smaller than we drew our vase. So here I'm gonna do a flower here, sort of to the left. And you can make it sort of sketchy, that's fine. We're gonna paint over all of this. So don't stress about making your flower perfect, because it's not gonna end up being a perfect circle anyway. We just wanna get the shape in there so we know where it's gonna be. And then I'm gonna do another one to the right of that. Maybe a little bigger, about the same size though. Just my two little flowers. And then we're gonna do an oval shape right above these, which is gonna be our flower that's sort of tilted sideways. It's the same flower, just at a different perspective. See, I've got my oval there. And that is going to be the base of our painting. You can see it you can start to see the shape coming together. So next we're gonna paint in our surface. So whether this is sitting on the ground or a table, we're just gonna paint that in. So again, maybe 2 inches from the bottom here. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm gonna paint a line going this way and a line going that way. And normally it's really important that you have your horizon line, as they call it, perfect. But for a painting, a quick little floral painting like this, I don't think it's that big of a concern. So just try to get it as even as you can. And then I'm going to draw a couple of these tiny flower shapes here. And you guys can see I'm going a little bit quick, and that's because I don't want you guys spending a lot of time on this. I want you to just sketch it in real quick, and then we're gonna add the detail with the color. So don't try to make it perfect, because we don't want it to be perfect. We want it to be very loose and just very painterly. So I'm just gonna do 2 little flowers right here, and they're gonna be about the size of my thumbprint. So here, I'll show you what I mean. And they're gonna be kind of diagonal. So we're gonna do a little thumbprint here and a little thumbprint there, kind of like little grape shapes. See that? And I'm adding more water to my paint as I need it to keep it nice and thin. And then I'm gonna add one more of these little thumb shapes up here on the left. I'm gonna make it sort of diagonal. And these are gonna be more little flowers in our little bouquet. Okay. So next, we're gonna draw a little leaf here. We're gonna fit in right in this little space here. I'm just sort of laying out, filling in the space where I feel like it needs to be filled in. And we're gonna make a couple little lines up here. You can see that I'm just sort of following my original composition. I'm just gonna make those little lines there so I know where they are to add the color in later. Just quick little flicks with my brush. You can see, didn't pay a lot of attention to that. And then we're gonna have a line coming out this way. You can see I have not connected anything yet in the middle. I'm just drawing shapes right now. And we're gonna do another line coming out this way. This is sort of just our little leaves and branches coming out of our flower vase. Maybe just a little one here. And then I'm gonna leave it. The rest we can paint in with our green paint and our colorful paints later. So you want your composition to look something like this. So do a quick reminder of what we just filled in, the important shapes that you should have. So we've got our vase, which is a circle, and we've got our little oval that we connected. We've got our table here, which is the 2 lines, sort of just grounding our base. We've got our 2 big circles above the base, and our oval shape just above that. And then we did our 2 little thumbprint shapes right here, and a little thumbprint shape here. And then we made a quick leaf shape there. And then we just did a few flicks coming out of the center. That's going to sort of be placement for our leaves and our stems of our flowers. Okay, so hopefully you guys got that. All right, so hopefully everybody's caught up with that. What do you think, Kiri? I think we're doing okay?
Yeah, I haven't seen any. I think everybody's painting along or sketching along. So everybody is loving that they don't have to use a pencil and it's more free, that you can just sketch with your paint.
Awesome.
So yeah, so a few more, nope, a couple waits.
Okay. I'll hang on a second just in case we don't really get the points.
Yeah.
So was there anybody who joined us for any of our other classes last week? We had Kira's pouring class, I think, right? We did was it Galaxies last week, Kira?
Gosh, yes, we did Galaxy. So that was
really long ago.
I know. Kind of like our last in the series for pouring. So if you missed that, you can check that out at michaels.com. So we did 5 or 6 pouring classes, which is completely different talent that Jessie has. So that was really fun. And then Jessie did a shibori class with Fabric Creations. So it was all about dyeing fabric. And left this week, we're teaching a dot painting class. So if you are familiar with mandala paintings, we're going to do a class on that on Wednesday, which you can sign up for that right now on michaels.com. And then also on Friday, we're going to do another shibori class, which is Fabric Creations. And we're going to be dyeing some clothing and home decor items. So yeah, we're going to be doing all that. And you guys get me the rest of the week. Jessie is going to be out. She's getting married, actually. So we've got a lot of celebrations and excited for her.
Yeah. I see all the congrats popping up. Thanks, guys. Yeah. It's kind of a last minute wedding, so I'm excited. I wouldn't call it an elopement so much, but it's definitely last minute, so it's a lot to do.
A last minute family wedding is still going to be amazing, so we're all excited for you.
Thank you guys so much. I'm excited too. It's going to be fun. But I am sad that I won't be here to paint with you guys, but I'll be back before you know it. Don't worry.
I'll take good care of them.
You're in safe hands with Kira, that's for sure. Awesome.
Yeah, lots of congrats.
That's really sweet. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and keep moving. Hopefully you guys have kind of caught up. Everybody's got their sort of paint sketch done. So I think we're okay to move on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab Clover, which is our medium green color. And I'm going to put about a nickel-sized amount of that on my palette. So any medium green color you have at home is totally fine for this. It doesn't need to be any particular green. Any green will do. I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm going back to my number 5 round brush, which is the last one that we just used to do our sketching. And we're not going to water it down this time. I'm going to wet my brush just to make sure it's nice and soft, but we're not going to water it down. I pick up some paint on my brush, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint in our leaves and stems. And so that way, we're going to paint our leaves and stems first. So when we paint our flowers on top, we'll cover it up. Because of course, if you're looking at a vase of flowers, you're going to see the flowers sitting on top of those stems and leaves. You're not going to see the stems sitting on top of the flowers, if that makes sense. So that's kind of why we're doing it in this order. So we can start by following the lines of the leaves and stems that we already sketched in. So let's start with that. So I'm going to follow this line here that I made. And I'm just going to pull my brush gently. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. If you feel your brush dry, you can go ahead and wet it. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. Just sort of a medium pressure. But then I'm going to go back and follow this line again. And when I get towards the end, I'm going to push down and make a leaf shape. So here, I'll show you. I'm going to follow the line I just did. And then towards the end, I'm going to push down and then pull back up for a leaf shape. And I kind of lost paint at the end there. So you do want to make sure your paint is pretty smooth for this one. This paint, I've got some extra thick green here tonight. So push down. So you should have something that looks sort of like that. And then I'm also going to fill in this leaf shape that I painted. I'm just going to fill this guy in, nothing fancy. I am going to try to cover up my white line though. And the reason I want to make sure I cover up that white line is because the whole point of painting the orange beneath it was so that we saw the orange outline around all of our shapes. And if I leave the white outline, then I'm going to have a white outline instead of an orange outline, which kind of defeats the purpose. So I'm going to try to cover that up as best I can. Again, I'm making sure my brush is nice and wet because I have very thick green paint tonight. But I wouldn't recommend thinning it down too much. So then I'm going to follow these little flicks that I made up here. I'm going to do the same thing. Flick, flick. And I'm going to follow these ones I did here. So this way, I talked about this in some of my other paintings. I'm right-handed. So for me, it's more comfortable to go from left to right than it is to go from right to left. That feels awkward on my hand because, again, because I'm right-handed. So if you're left-handed, it's probably more comfortable for you to go from right to left. So because of that, I'm gonna paint this stem here, and I'm gonna go left to right. And just like this one where we did thin and then fat, we're gonna do fat and then thin. So I'm gonna press my brush down, and then I'm gonna pull it up to make the rest of it thin. You guys see how I did that? I can do it again on my, I'm just gonna fill it in a little. I got a little dry towards the end there. I can do it again on my palette to sort of show you guys what I did. So I have a good amount of paint on my brush. I pressed it down, keep moving my brush, and then I pulled it up to make the stem. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just a really quick way to draw sort of leaves and branches and stems. So I'm gonna paint, and then I'm gonna press down and then pull up, and that's a nice leaf sort of shape. That's all I did there, nothing fancy. And I'm gonna do the same thing down below him, but it's a little bit smaller. So press down and then pull up. And then you can see we've kind of covered up all of the areas where we sketched in our leaves and stems, but we're gonna add a couple more, just sort of by hand. So now that we know how we followed those white lines, we're gonna do the exact same thing, but we're just not gonna have a white line follow this time. So it's gonna be simple. So I'm gonna make a leaf coming out here this way. So I'm gonna, just like we did, press down and then pull back up. And I'm just gonna stop where my flowers start. And of course, those are gonna go behind, that's gonna look like it's coming out from behind my flowers. And then I'm gonna make a little flick up there, just add some more green. And then of course, so if we're looking at a vase of flowers near the glass vase, we're gonna see all those stems coming down the center, right? We're gonna see them sort of nestled behind our flowers. So I'm just gonna paint a few lines in here, just like this. Watch, I'm gonna go straight over my vase shape. I'm just gonna pull some lines down here. See like I'm doing? I'm sort of starting in the middle, not all going in the same direction, just thinking of how flower stems would be sitting in a vase. And I'm just gonna pull these lines on here. And we're just gonna do a few stems. I'm gonna do some coming up, and we're not gonna pay too much attention. You're gonna wanna pay attention. You're gonna say, oh, we can only see 3 or 4 flowers, so I only need 3 or 4 stems. We're gonna pretend like there's a bunch of flowers in here. Maybe there's some in the back we can't see. We're just gonna try to fill our stem with our, fill our vase with our stems. So hopefully that makes sense. So I kind of want a little guy coming up here and a little guy coming up there. And I might even put a little extra guy there and make it thicker in the middle. I just want lots of green in there. See, in our original painting, we just have lots of green going on in there. So hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully it's making sense to you. Again, this painting is very loose. It's not terribly realistic. It's just, it's got a lot of character. And we want it to be very painterly looking.
Yep. And I think people need a second to get caught up on their green.
Okay. No problem. So I'll just go ahead and remind you guys, as some of you are catching up, we did our, we followed the lines that we drew with the white. So we did those first to kind of get an idea of what we're doing. So we did a line here and very thin, and then we pushed down and pulled up to create that leaf shape. And then we just filled in this guy. I'm just gonna paint back over to show you. We just filled in him with just green, that leaf that we painted, the shape. And then up here we did these little flicks that we made, flick, flick, we did those in green. And then we followed this one and we did heavy pressure, and then we pulled up for light pressure. And the same thing here, heavy pressure and then pull up for light pressure.
Yep, so Jessie is just going over everything. I think everyone's like, wait. So she's just going over so people have time to get caught up. So no new steps, she's just getting. I'm
just repeating all of the greens that we already did. So they've been a little behind. So I'm not adding anything new, don't stress. Just keep on painting your green lines.
Yeah.
So then up here, we did a heavy pressure. I'm just going back over my lines as a refresh. And then light pressure. And we did a flick up here. And then we just painted in some really random and loose flower stems. So don't stress about that. Just nice and loose. And I just sort of filled up my base with stems. I didn't do anything crazy. I just put some green strokes in there. I wanted to make sure in this area was just all bunches of green stems. So we're gonna add more color on top of it. We're gonna paint around it. We're gonna put flowers on top of it. So don't stress about how perfect those are, or don't count them or anything like that. We just want it to be beautiful and loose to look like there's just a bunch of stems in this glass vase. So again, we're not making anything new. We just went ahead and we repeated the ones that we already did. And again, yours don't have to, oops, I dropped my brush. Yours don't have to look just like mine. Feel free to follow my composition, but if you think that there should be less stems in there, then make less stems. If you think there should be more stems, then make more stems. It's your painting. However you think it looks good is how it looks good. So don't stress because it doesn't look just like mine. That's not the point. We want to make sure that it looks good to you guys. So, I feel like maybe we're a little bit caught up now, Kira?
Yeah, I think people are getting there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think go ahead and we'll just see how our pace is.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep the green. I am going to draw a couple more stems. I didn't want to keep going for those of you who are catching up. But we want to make sure that all of our flowers are connected to our vase. So of course, our flowers aren't just popping out in the air. These guys around here are floating right now. So you just want to make sure that they're connected. So we're just going to draw quick stems to these flowers. I'm just doing lines, nothing fancy. I just want to connect our little thumbprint or grape shapes, whatever you want to call them. I want to make sure those are connected to the vase. So we just did those little lines there to make sure they're not floating out in the middle of nowhere.
So I'm going to say this last name wrong, but it's Boutin family.
We can see you.
Boutin family. You guys are hilarious, and I totally want to come paint with you guys at your house.
So whenever
it's like two boys and a dad and a mom, and the dad shakes his head and is hilarious, and the boys are painting along.
So I can see on this giant screen in front of me, I can see myself, my overhead, I can see Kira, and then I can always see one viewer painting along. And tonight it's you guys. So
I love it. That's awesome.
So. Okay. All right. So
it's usually Catherine Randall that we get to see. I think she joined late. She's popped up and commented.
She did. Okay, so she's in there. She just wasn't the first.
Hi, Catherine. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I can't believe you called them out, but I can see you too. So
it makes me so happy.
All right. So hopefully that gave you guys a chance to sort of catch up and get all of your green stems in. And I'm going to put some school bus yellow onto my palette, which is just any yellow color you have, medium or light yellow is totally fine. This one's just sort of a medium yellow. And I'm going to hang on to the brush that I've been using. I'm going to wet it again. And we're going to go back over those lines of our green lines and just make them a little bit more dimensional. We're just going to add some more color because whenever you have anything on a painting that's just got one color, it just makes it look flat automatically. So you don't need to pay attention to the light, or you don't need to necessarily be an expert on shadows and highlights and, you know, anything like that, and like light sources and that sort of thing. You just want to make sure you have more than one color in there to make it look a little more realistic, to make it look a little bit more finished. So right now, all of our green is super flat. So we're just going to go back in, and we're basically just going to follow over those lines, but we're going to use yellow on our brush. And we want to make sure we do it now while our green is still a little bit wet. So here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go on this right here, so hopefully my green is still wet enough. And I'm going to go over it a little bit. And you see how my yellow just blended in so well with that green right now? So that's why we're doing it while the green is still wet, because, you know, a lot of times we don't want our paints to blend into the color beneath it, but this time we do. So we're just going to go over everything really quickly. It's not going to be perfect. We're just going to sort of follow those lines very loosely. That's the key for this painting. You can see I'm sort of holding my paintbrush at the end, and that's giving me a much looser grip on my painting. So I'm just following all the green lines I already did. I'm just tracing, you guys are just tracing back over your green lines. If you feel like your green is too dry, if you finish your green lines really soon, you can just pick up some green paint onto your brush as well as the yellow. So you can pick them up together like this. Pick up some yellow, pick up some green. So I've got both colors on my brush, and that will do the trick as well. That will blend them really beautifully onto your canvas. I'm just following the green lines that I've already made.
So you're leaving some green visible. So Jesse, people are asking, so you want to see some green and some yellow.
Yes, we're hopefully our green is still a little bit wet. So we are trying to blend our yellow into the green. So you can see mine, I definitely have green showing. My yellow is just sort of blending in with the color beneath it, which is a good thing. Again, like I said, sometimes we didn't want anything blending into this orange because that's our background color. But for this one, we do want those two colors to blend together. So hopefully your green is still wet. If it's already dried a little bit, if you kind of were an early finisher for the green part, you can go ahead and you can pick up some green on your paintbrush too, and that will help with that. But I'm literally just really quick and loosely following over where I painted all these green lines before. Just really loose to put some yellow in there to blend it in with the green paint beneath it. See how? So see how quick that was? We don't want to spend too much time thinking about it. As you can see in our original painting here, how loose it is. We just want it to be really loose just to add some yellow. And it does end up making our leaves a little bit dimensional. Just a really quick, easy way to do it.
Yep, maybe just give everybody a second to add that yellow into their green.
Yeah, definitely. And again, don't forget to hold the paintbrush sort of at the end. You don't really want to hold it like a pencil because you're going to concentrate too much. You're going to spend too much time. That's when your hand starts to shake if you hold it too. You try to hold it too tight. So you want a very loose grip. You want to hold it towards the end of your paintbrush. And that's how you get these nice sweeping strokes. If you try too hard and try to concentrate like you're holding a pencil, that's when your hand starts to shake. And you want these nice, loose, sweeping strokes, like I said.
That's a really good tip. Okay.
Okay, how's everybody doing?
I think everybody's good.
Okay, cool.
And again, if you need to go back after the class and play this again, it's available on michaels.com. So if you need to watch it again, or you're just watching to get inspired tonight, you want to go back and actually take the class, or this is a practice, you can always go back and watch this again when you have time.
Yeah.
Have some me time. Sometimes it's good just to like watch and learn and then go back and actually paint it.
Yeah, I agree completely. Okay, cool. It's hard, like Kira said, it's hard now because there's so many people watching live, so it's hard to keep at everybody's pace, whether they're a fast painter or maybe a slower painter. So that's a great tip. So you can always go back and rewatch. All right, so we're gonna start painting our flowers, guys. So finish up the green and the yellow. I don't mean to rush you, but you really don't want to spend too much time on it. So if you're still painting, maybe just do some more quick strokes, and we just want to move on. We want it to be very loose. We don't want to spend too much time concentrating on that. All right, so that being said, I'm going to put some purple on my palette. So this is just a regular old purple color. If you've got like a lavender color or just any purple acrylic paint, will be totally fine. I'm using a FolkArt, of course, tonight. So I'm going to wet my brush. Oh, and I guess I should tell you what brush I'm using. I'm going to use the small flat brush that I said, so the number 8 flat, which is a tiny little flat brush. And I just wet it in my water basin, and then I try to get most of the water out. And we are going to start by painting this big flower here, this big flower on the left. So I'm going to load up my brush with some purple. And I'm going to paint this flower using C shapes. So just like the letter C. So here I'll show you on my palette where they're going to be shapes like this. They look like little apostrophes or little commas, little loose C's, whatever you want to call them. But can you see those strokes there? Just little swooping motions that look just like commas. I'm using my flat brush. If you have too much paint, go ahead and take some off of there. Just little C shapes. So we're going to use those little strokes very loosely. Again, we want to keep it loose all the way around in a spiral to make this flower. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to do a little C stroke around the edges, picking up more paint as I need it. And again, I'm going to try to cover up the white. my little comma, comma. You don't want to spend too much time. I'm using the flat side of my brush. And that's how I'm getting that nice C shape. This, again, we're using the number 8 flat brush, which is a tiny flat brush. I'm making my little C shapes. I'm sort of turning my brush around as I go. Making little C shapes. Do you see that, how we're doing that? Super simple, just really easy, really quick. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fill the whole thing up with C shapes. So I'm gonna do even more, another row of it. Doesn't need to be perfect. We just wanna get that purple on there. Especially now that we've got the edges done, the inside certainly doesn't need to be perfect because we're gonna add more colors anyway. So I'm gonna keep making these C shapes to make these ranunculus look really full. And again, you saw, I went quick, but that was intentional. You don't want to spend too much time on it. With a nice, loose purple flower. You can see I've just gone ahead and I filled it up. You probably can't see on camera, but I did do the C shapes all the way around. And it may look like I just filled it in with purple, but you do want to make sure you keep those C shapes because we're going to put more colors on top of it, and that's going to give it the texture and the shape of a ranunculus flower. So go ahead and paint your purple flower.
You guys should have heard us practicing how to say ranunculus earlier. And then we Googled what was the plural.
Exactly. It's ranunculus or ranunculi, in case you're wondering, or it's ranunculuses. So it's really just totally up to you, apparently. And again, I'm just going back over it. All you want to do is have that purple flower filled up. I'm just sort of going back and making those strokes over my lines I already made, just for the people catching up. You just want to make those little comma shapes to create that flower, just going all the way around in a spiral, just to fill it in. Okay, so hopefully you guys are able to do that. Don't spend, like I said, don't spend a ton of time on it, just a nice, quick, loose flower. So now I have not washed my brush off yet. I still have the purple on my brush. So if you have washed your brush off and you were a little bit ahead, go ahead and dry it off and put some more purple on your brush, because that's what we have here. And then I'm going to pick up just a little bit of wicker white. So right now I have purple and wicker white on my brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back around and do the exact same thing over my C shapes that I just made. And by adding the white to it, it's going to be just like the stems we did. The white is going to blend into those shapes we just made and give it a little bit of dimension. So you can see here, just like that one. Going to be just the same. So my C shape, pick up a little more white as you need it, C shape. Do you see how that's making it look a little bit more dimensional, how it's giving it some shape instead of just that flat purple that we had? C shape, C shape. You can add a little bit more white or a little bit more purple to your brush as needed. If you feel like it's still looking really purple, add more white. If you feel like your ranunculus is suddenly turning white, then you need to put some more purple on there. We want it to be a nice mixture of both.
And it's okay if a little bit of the orange is showing through, right? Somebody had a question, so that's okay.
Yes, we want the orange to show through because that's why we did the orange. It's going to look really good, popping out from beneath all of these other colors that we're doing. And that's the reason that we wanted to make sure it was dry beneath it, because it's not going to mix with our colors. It's still going to be a true vibrant orange because it's dry beneath it, but it's going to look really cool when we're done. So if we had the wet orange and we're painting purple on top of it, right now we'd have a brown mess. So you definitely don't want that, but it's okay if your orange is showing through. So go ahead and, like I said, put that white in. Just follow the exact same lines that you made using your number 8 flat brush. Just go right over the purple that you did with those little comma marks. And next, we're going to paint the exact same way our flower right here. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the purple, using the same brush, the number 8 flat, but we're going to use conch shell, which is just this pretty blush pink color. I'm going to go ahead and put some of that on my palette. And again, we're going to do the same thing, the same comma strokes that we did all the way around this flower. And again, we're going to try to cover up the white edges.
Oh, and somebody is asking, it's okay if you turn your canvas. And I know, Jessie, that's your little trick that you always do.
Yep. When I'm painting, I always say this, you know, in my paintings, I usually am painting like this. That's comfortable for me. Or sometimes I turn it upside down if that's more comfortable for me. So of course I don't do that while you guys are watching because I don't want you to get confused why my painting is all over the place. But if that feels more comfortable for your arm and for your hand to paint, by all means, turn your canvas in any direction that you need to. So when you're painting all the way around, you can totally just paint it this way, paint it this way, paint it this way, paint it this way, and turn your canvas instead of your hand. So yeah, totally, that's a great idea, and I highly recommend you turn your canvas as you're painting if that's what feels comfortable to you. I just try to keep mine in one place just for you guys so it doesn't get too confusing. So again, we're just on our right flower here. We're using the number 8 flat brush, and we are using Conch shell. And we're doing the same little comma marks or apostrophe looking marks. And we're just doing it all the way around to fill up our flower. Just making comma marks all the way inside it. And again, like somebody asked, it is great if the orange is showing through. We want to make sure we don't cover up all the orange because that was the whole point of painting the background orange. We want some of that orange to show through. Yep, so we're using our light pink color, which is called FolkArt Conch Shell, but any light pink you have. If you've got red and white at home, you can mix up light pink, that's totally fine. Whatever you've got is perfectly fine for this one, or any color for that matter. Any color that you like for your flower is totally fine. You can do blue flowers for, you know, it's totally up to you.
Yep,
Yeah,
and if you have,
back over my lines. Sorry.
no, someone's just asking if they have gaps. That's okay. So
Yep. Leave the gaps. We like this. So you can see I have a bunch of orange peeking through in mine right now. And that's intentional because we want to see the orange because, again, that's the whole point of painting the background. We want to see a bunch of little cracks and crevices of that orange peeking through our painting, and that's going to make it look really fun at the end.
yep, but if you covered them up, don't worry about it. It's still going to be pretty.
Yeah. Don't feel that, yeah, exactly. Don't feel the need to go back and repaint the orange. That's fine. There's plenty of spaces left in the painting where you can leave orange showing through. So again, we're just doing all our little comma strokes here, just over the right flower using our conch shell, which is our light pink color. So for those of you who are caught up, we're going to do the same thing we did to the purple. We're going to keep the conch shell on our brush, and we're going to pick up some white, and we're going to go back over it with white to create that dimension, just like we did the purple flower. So if you are not quite there yet, go ahead and try to finish up your pink. Don't spend too much time thinking about it. But if you are caught up, go ahead and just pick up some white right onto your conch shell brush and start doing the dimensional part, just like we did the purple. Just going through really loosely. Doesn't need to be perfect. And it definitely doesn't need to cover up the color beneath it. Just doing the exact same strokes, but just putting white on your brush this time. And that's just going to create that sort of really easy, loose dimensional look, I should say. Okay, so hopefully you guys are sort of catching up. Hopefully you were able to catch up since these flowers are pretty much the same thing. Hopefully it gave some of us time. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to our third flower, which is the top flower. And we're gonna use School Bus Yellow, which I still have on my palette. And we're gonna do the same thing, but this time it's just gonna be a teeny bit different because it's just a little bit longer. It's not a totally round flower. So I'm gonna pick up some yellow on my brush. I'll show you guys how I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna hold my brush sort of horizontal to my canvas. See how I have it? I just have it, you know, sort of flat upright on my canvas. And so I'm going to make some C little marks here. And I'm going to make some little C marks here. And I want to keep this sort of like wide and round. So I'm just sort of keeping my brush this way to do the C marks. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not putting my brush vertical at all because I don't want my flower to get too tall. I want it to be nice and wide so it looks like it's the side. And I'm doing my C marks this way. And again, it doesn't need to be anything perfect. You just want to fill it up with C marks. If it's not perfectly spiraled into the center, that does not matter. Don't worry. We just want to have some texture and make it yellow. Those are the two key goals to filling this flower. Make your C marks and make it yellow. Doesn't need to be perfect. If you've got those two things covered, then you're on track. So, how are we doing, Kira?
People are catching up. So as long as everybody is good, it's already 9, but I want people that are painting along to have time. So I think just give everybody a second to catch up.
Okay.
I love this painting.
Oh, thanks.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a fun one for summer for sure.
The Booten family, am I saying that right? They're having a good time. The guys are laughing. I won't tell boys, I promise. There that. Okay, the daughter too. Good. I was worried about the game for the boys, but I love that the daughter's in there too.
That's awesome.
It is so
my favorite was before when I guess we're assuming it's the dad was kind of peeking around the camera too every once in a while. Oh gosh.
I love it.
All right. So hopefully you guys are on our yellow flower. We're gonna do the same thing we've been doing. Now that we've got our yellow down, we're not cleaning our brush yet. We're gonna pick up some Wicker white and we're just gonna follow back over those strokes. Mine's a little dry, so I'm gonna pick up some more yellow and we're gonna paint back over it to create that dimension. You can see I'm picking up yellow and white, and that's just because we're just waiting for everybody to catch up and my paint has dried a little. Normally I would just, paint straight through this, but that's okay. We don't want anybody to get behind. So my paint's dried a little, so I went back and I picked up some yellow and white on my brush because I want to make sure I have those two colors blending together.
I love that yellow.
Oh yeah, it's a really pretty
one. Pretty.
Yeah, I think it's prettier than school buses, but it's called school buses.
It is prettier than school buses.
All right, and I'm just gonna wash my brush off. Okay, so the next flower they're gonna paint is even simpler than that one. We are going to pick up some, I've still got my same brush. I just washed it off and I dried it. My number 8 flat brush. We're gonna paint these little thumbprint flowers, as I keep calling them. We're gonna pick up some purple. And this time, instead of doing a curved C shape, we're just gonna make little dab marks on our canvas. So here, I'll show you on my palette, just like that, little dabs. Like I'm just barely touching the palette there. Can you see how I'm doing that? Just little dabbing motions. So not curved this time, just straight, just really loose little dabbing motions. So we're going to fill in our little, you can see I just tilted my canvas there. We're going to fill in our little thumbprint or grape size circles here with our little dabbing motions. Nothing crazy. We're going to try to go over the white lines a little bit, but we're just going to dab. See, I'm just trying to keep that sort of round ovally shape with my dabbing motions. Yes, this is like the starfish motion. Somebody just asked that. It's just like we did the starfish painting. It's really similar to that, but just a little bit shorter. We got a tinier brush this time too. I'm just gonna fill in those little oval guys. And don't forget this guy up here in the corner too. We wanna do him. So I'm gonna tilt my painting so I can pull down. And I'm just filling in that general shape. Of course, not going to be super round because it's little square markings, but we want to keep it in there as best we can. So you guys hopefully saw what I just did. I'm going to go ahead and move along because we need just to the next step. I'm not going to go, too far. We want to make sure that this paint is wet while we do the next one. So it's going to be just like we painted our ranunculus. We're going to I'm not going to clean my brush off. We're going to pick up some white and we're going to go back over and do the same thing. Just like the same way we painted the ranunculus. We want to get that white in while our paint is still wet, while the purple's still wet beneath it. We don't want it to dry too much. And if it's already dried, like if your house is a little bit dry right now and your paint's drying super fast, go ahead and put some more purple on your brush. That's fine. I'm gonna do the same thing up here. I'm just gonna do the same motions. I'm gonna add a little bit of white in there. Really loose. Didn't put that much thought into it. Just really quick dabbing motions. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean my brush off.
It looks so great already. It's funny how you keep adding and it just keeps coming to life more and more and more as you go.
Well, thanks. I'm glad it's coming together. I'm glad you guys can see it well. And you're probably thinking, why is my painting so orange? So don't worry, we're gonna get into start covering some more ground soon, and it's gonna start really coming to life and looking like the original painting that you guys signed up for. Okay. So I'm going to start painting the vase. Hopefully you guys are in a good place. I'm going to put some of my true blue, which is my bright blue color, onto my palette. Oops, should have shaken that up a little. So my true blue. And then I'm also going to put, if you need more wicker white, go ahead and put that out on your palette now. You might already have a bunch on there, but if you need more, go ahead. And we're gonna paint our vase. So this is gonna be really loose, guys. I don't want you to spend a ton of time thinking about painting around every little stem in your vase. We want it to be very loose and almost choppy looking. So just please keep that in mind when you're painting it. It does not need to be perfect, and we don't want it to be perfect for this painting. So that said, I'm going to pick up a little bit of true blue on my brush. And then I'm also going to pick up a little bit of white on my brush, and I'm not gonna mix them. I'm going to start painting inside my vase shape around my stems, but I'm not going to paint right up to my stems. So if you're a little confused by that, let me show you what I mean. I'm going to start painting around my stems, and you can pick up more blue or more white as you go. See how loose I'm being? And I'm going to go between my stems. I'm not going to go right up to the stems because I really, really, really want that orange to show through. I'm going to just paint the vase shape. I'm just picking up blue and white. I'm not mixing it on my palette. I'm just mixing it right on my brush as I go, really. And I'm just using the chiseled edge of my brush. You can kind of go around and get that round shape of your vase. But we're not going all the way up to our stems.
What size brush are you using, Jessie?
We're using the same brush. This is still our number 8 flat brush. Sorry, I may have forgot to mention that. So you can see I'm just sort of outlining my vase so I get all my surface area covered. And then I'm just picking up blue and I'm picking up white and I'm going right between those, very choppy. It's like not even very long, smooth strokes, which I normally recommend when you're sort of base coating something. But for this technique, we want it to be really choppy looking. And I, again, don't want to go right up until the stems. You want it to be very, we want to see all that orange coming through. And just let's see how fast I did that, really quick. Hope you guys can see. I still have tons of orange showing through around my stems. So hopefully you can see that. And if you feel like you need to add a little more white, you can go ahead and add more white. If you feel like you need to add a little more blue, go ahead and add a little more blue.
And what's the name of the blue? That's Look at Me blue and white.
Yeah, true blue I've got, but Look at Me blue would be great. Yeah, no worries. Any blue is fine. Any bright blue or light blue or anything is totally good for this. So you can see all I've done is I've sort of outlined the bottom of my vase and I've just painted really quick really choppy brush strokes, very painterly looking, brush strokey in between each of these stems. And again, I did not go all the way up to them because I want that orange to show through. So hopefully you've done that pretty quickly. Again, I don't want you to spend too much time on it because you're a perfectionist, which I am too. It might be a little bit hard for you to paint loosely like this, but it's really fun. Once you get the hang of it, painting in a more loose manner can be really freeing and a little bit more relaxing, honestly, because you don't have to worry about it being perfect. Here's a fun, different style. So once you have your the bottom of your vase painted, you may be wondering, what are we doing with the lip of the vase, with the mouth of the vase? I'm going to take my paintbrush, still haven't washed it off or anything, and I'm just going to follow the line of the mouth right over the green stems. And that's just going to sort of look like our vase is enclosed, and hopefully it sort of gives the illusion that our flowers are inside that vase and that's glass. And then I'm going to clean the brush off. Okay, so again, really loose. You just want to paint right around the stems. We don't want to paint up to the stems because we really want to see that orange showing through. I used a tiny brush and I did lots of quick little choppy brush strokes to get that really loose looking base. Okay, so hopefully you had fun doing that. Hopefully it wasn't stressful for you to paint that vase so loosely, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint the background the exact same way. So you can use your 3/4 inch flat brush for some of the larger areas, and then you can switch to your number 8 brush for the smaller areas. But I'm actually going to use my number 8 brush for the whole thing. So we are going to put some Cayman blue onto our palette, which is our pretty like light sky blue color. And we already have white, so if you need to add more white, go ahead and do that now. And we're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to pick up Cayman blue, which is our light blue, lighter, sort of an aqua blue. And we're going to pick up Wicker white, and we're just going to start painting the background. And I'm going to put a little more white this time because I want my background to be pretty light color, just like my original. And look how choppy I'm being. I'm not being careful. I'm not going all in one direction like we oftentimes do for our paintings. Normally, if we're base coating something, we try to stay in one direction so it's nice and smooth. But that's not what we want for this painting. You can see I'm not going right up to my vase. I'm just getting in every little detail and going right up until every shape, but I'm not meeting it. I'm not touching it because I want it to be really choppy and I really want that orange outline to come through. You can see I'm being really loose, almost messy with it. You see, I'm just sort of getting a little bit of blue into those details in between these shapes, but I'm not spending a lot of time on it. I'm not stressed about it. So sort of just a messy, quick background using white and Cayman blue. And again, I'm just using my tiny brush for this because normally when I'm painting a background, I like, for big broad strokes, I like to have, as least brush strokes as possible. And it's, of course, it's always better to do it with a bigger brush. But for this one, I almost want more brush strokes. So that's just a style of the painting. So I'm using this tiny little brush to make these choppy little marks fill up my whole background. And again, it would almost be easier for you if you do it faster because you won't give yourself so much time to think about it, and you won't give yourself so much time to concentrate and feel like you need it to be perfect. I'm going really quick, just quick little brush strokes. And again, I'm going between all the little details, just right up to each shape. But I'm not touching the shape because I want to see that orange showing through. And I'm adding more Cayman blue and more Wicker white as I need to.
And Jessie, I love the orange, but I love the blue and white even more.
Yeah, I know, it kind of brightens it up.
Uh-huh.
Again, I'm just picking up more paint as I need it. And it's okay too if some areas have more blue and some areas have more white. I think that's going to make your painting a lot more interesting. It's going to make it look really good in the end. You can see my final one. We're even going to add some yellow, so it's kind of green, and it's kind of light over here, and it's a little darker over here, and that's okay. That's what I was going for. Again, I'm just going to use the tip of my little brush here to get into some of the details, but nothing crazy. I just want to make sure I've got some light blue back there where there would be background.
Someone has a question, Elena, if the direction of the brush strokes matter. So you definitely want to go up and down, right, Jesse?
Well, you know what? Actually, normally I would say yes, but for this one, we're kind of going in any random direction.
Okay.
As long as you get the final one, you see how it's sort of like all crazy and going all over the place? It's sort of like the charm of this painting is that it's just very brush strokey and very painterly. So it's kind of just following the shapes of the flowers, and it's not really going in one direction. So normally, Kira, I would absolutely agree with you. If you wanted like a nice smooth background, you would definitely want to go in one direction.
Okay.
But for this one, we're kind of switching it up a little.
This one's a little more free.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really fun to paint that way. Again, it's a little stressful if you're a perfectionist. It's hard to paint really loosely like that. But once you start practicing and sort of get the hang of it, it can be a lot of fun. And again, I'm just going right up to the shapes of the flower shapes and the vase and all of that. And I'm not going right up. I'm not going to the very edge though, because I want to see the orange in between each of these shapes. So we're letting the orange shine through the back. Just sort of filling in a little bit of blue in between. Really loose and really brush strokey, which is, again, really sort of the opposite of what we normally would do.
Definitely more abstract, impressionistic than typical.
Definitely, yeah, totally impressionistic. I love that description. It's very painterly. We're just sort of like, you know, the illusion of a background, just sort of blocking that color in there really loosely.
And I love that pop of orange that's still showing.
Yeah, that's really fun. A really, really fun way to paint. Like I said, if you wanted to paint, you could paint anything this way. And you could put bright pink in the background, or like I said, a lot of times people will do this sort of technique and they'll paint their canvas black first and let the black show through, so you have like everything is outlined in black, which can be a very dramatic way to paint a painting. It's really fun. I'm just sort of going back and adding a little more blue in some places where I think I want some blue. So really no rhyme or reason. That's all I'm doing now. Just keep painting your background. And again, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. That's how we want it. Hopefully you guys are sort of getting full coverage, sort of finishing up your backgrounds. It's okay if orange shows through. I have some places where orange showing through. We like that. We just, again, want to go straight up until all of our areas. We don't want to paint over all of the orange because we want that to come through. So it should be looking a little something like this. How are we doing, Kira?
Good. I think everybody's catching up.
Awesome. Well, if you guys are catching up, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna move on to our little tabletop here, or whatever, wherever our little flower vase is sitting. This is super simple, so don't stress if you're still painting the background. It's not anything that you can't remember. So we're just gonna do the same thing we did for the background, but we're gonna use a little bit more of the blue, and we're just gonna go from left to right. Instead of all over random, we're just gonna make left and right brush strokes. So same thing, we're gonna pick up a little bit of Cayman blue, we're gonna pick up a little bit of white, and we're gonna go left to right. And again, like I said, this time we're just gonna use a little bit more blue just to distinguish the tabletop or whatever our flowers is sitting on from the wall or the background, whatever is behind us. So really loose, still using our Cayman blue and white, just going left to right this time. Same, very similar technique. And again, we're just going right up to our base. We're leaving that little halo of orange.
So everybody caught up with Jessie. We just want to make sure that everybody's able to finish because Jessie, there's just a few more details on the flowers.
Yep, you're right.
Good. I hope we're going at a good pace for everybody. Let us know.
And hopefully you guys can see how loose my brush strokes are. I definitely didn't get full coverage. I just wanted to block some blue in there. Just really quick, left and right, back and forth, brush strokes. White and Cayman blue, a little more Cayman blue than white. And again,
beautiful.
I like the orange. Thank you, thanks. We like the orange coming through, so that's okay. Don't stress about that. We definitely don't want to cover it up. Sorry, I keep peeking around. I'm trying to see the overhead and make sure you guys can see it.
Oh, and let's see, Sarah, thank you so much. She said you were such a good teacher, Jessie.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, I'm glad you think so. I have a lot of fun teaching these classes, so thanks so much for joining. And again, thanks for Michaels for letting us do it because we have so much fun teaching for Michaels, so it's awesome.
Okay, so I think we can probably get to the details.
Awesome. So there's really only a couple final touches left. So for this next one, we are going to grab any size brush. I'm going to pick up my larger brush. So I'm going to go back to my 3/4 inch flat brush. And we are going to pick up a little bit of our true blue and orange, or hot saffron is what you guys probably have at home. We're going to pick both of those up, and I'm just going to dip the end of my brush into it. Can you see what I did there? The back side of my brush, not the bristles. So I've got our hot saffron and true blue. I've got both of those colors. I'm making a mess on the end of my brush. And we are going to use that to make little dots in the center of our orange and pink flowers. So just like this, I'm just going to do little dots. And I'm going to make sort of a brownish green color for the center. And for this one, I'm going to go right in the middle. I've got blue and hot saffron. You can just see I just made a few dots in the center to give that dark center, just like our ranunculus has. And then we're going to do the same thing for the yellow one. But for the yellow one, instead of going dead center, we're going to go a little bit above that. Because don't forget, that flower, instead of being straight on, is tilted a little in our vase. That's how we painted it this way. I'm going to make it a little bit towards the top there. You see where I just made that dot? That's where we want our little cluster of dots to be for this guy. We don't want it to be dead center because that would throw off our perspective that we planned. So those little dots there, just really quick, just little dots for some texture in the middle. And then I'm just going to wipe off the tip of my brush. And I'm going to pick up some of my school bus yellow. We're going to do the same exact thing on our purple flower. Just make some yellow dots in the center of it. And that's going to sort of finish it off and make it look like a real ranunculus flower. And that is it. So go ahead, guys, and finish up your dots and the centers of your flowers. And make sure when you're done that you sign your painting. You can use one of the smaller brushes and any color you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and use Wicker white, and make sure you sign the bottom of your painting. And that is it for Summer Ranunculus.
Beautiful, Jessie. I love it.
Thanks.
Love it so much.
Yeah, guys.
We hope everybody enjoyed. Everybody is probably just finishing up their painting. Thank you, Jessie. It looks amazing. Definitely one of my favorite. Thank you, Michaels, for having us. Hope everybody enjoyed. Again, we will be here 2 more times this week on Michael's Community Classroom. So we'll be teaching dot painting, which is mandala painting, if you've heard of that trend. And then we're also going to do our second shibori class, which is dyeing with our fabric creations. So we're going to be dyeing fabric and clothing. So you'll want to check that out. You can register for both of those on michaels.com. And Jessie will be back with another floral actually next Monday. So we are all about the florals. So thank you guys so much. I am going to pick a winner, my least favorite part of the night.
Kira, while you're picking, can we ask everybody who's got their camera on to hold up their painting if they're finished?
Everybody hold up your painting. We can't wait to see. Oh, awesome.
Oh, that looks so great. Those look awesome. Great job, guys.
So much.
I'm looking at you,
awesome.
Family. It looks amazing.
Awesome. Everybody has done a great job. Thank you guys so much for all the chats and comments and the love. We appreciate it so much.
Awesome.
All right.
So drum roll.
I know I can't do it. Okay. So finally, Catherine Randall.
Woo,
our favorite.
Catherine.
She has tuned in. For every class. So Catherine, you are still here on the chat, so I hope you're watching. Catherine Randall. So we need you to go to our Plaid Facebook page and direct message us, and we will go ahead and make sure that you get your $50 worth of Plaid product.
She said, of course
I'm here. Yay! What a good Monday, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, Catherine, go to our Facebook page, our Plaid Crafts Facebook, and direct message us, and we'll make sure we get product out to you. You guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.